December 16th, 1967, that all changed. And MiG-21, which is a very similar performance to an F-4, came in from behind us, fired an ATOL heat-seeking missile, went in our number 2 exhaust, blew the tail off the airplane, so I was forced to eject. I like to say sometimes you feel like you're on top of the world, and then sometimes it's topsy-turvy and you feel like the world can be on top of you. Well, when I landed, I stood up, and I was facing a couple of young militia guys, early 20s, pit helmets, military uniforms, bayonets on their rifles, about 10 feet in front of me, looking down their sights. And off to the left, I heard a whoop-la. 50 yards off the left out of the woods came about 40 or 50 Vietnamese peasants. So I knew I wasn't going to be going anywhere, at least in my own militia. So then I didn't realize how long it was going to be up there and what we were experiencing. I've been through survival school. And the treatment sometimes can be pretty bad. The conditions sometimes weren't the best. Climate up there was very similar to here. It's hot and buggy in the summer. It can get cold, down below freezing sometimes, not even winter. But of course, we didn't have the advantages of having central air or heat. And rooms didn't really have a lot of ventilation. We were usually kept pretty much isolated. If you did have a roommate, you weren't allowed to socialize with the other rooms. And in fact, we weren't even supposed to communicate with them. If we got caught communicating, we would be punished. And the day, you usually get out about 15, 20 minutes a day, unless they had a reason to, sometimes they had a few work details, or they might have a reason they wanted to interrogate you or try and get something out of you. For the most part, it's a lot of tedium. I did spend a lot of time. We had geckos in our room, so I know a lot about geckos. You ever want to know about geckos? I'm going to teach you science about it. But, and it'd be a couple times a day. We had very little chance to, a couple years before that, a lot of time allowed me to ride over with my wife. It was only a little 5-line thing, that Coast Guard. But very much like that, and then even our families didn't know whether we were dead or alive. If we were dead or alive, when we come home, or even if we would come home, and if we did, what condition. So it was actually part of the families too. But how do you deal in a situation like this? Well, the same way you deal with any situation in life. Use some of the same coping mechanisms. One thing I think, be positive as much as you can. I believe there's good to be found in everything. Sometimes it's hard to find, but it's there. So just be as positive as you can. If you're negative, it really tears you down. The other thing, don't self-pity. No, self-pity is horrible. It tears you down. And if you think you're having a worse day, somebody else out there is having a worse day. So think of it that way. So just make the best what you can. I know sometimes I've had people tell me, I didn't realize it, ask me how long I'm a POW, and I say only 5 years. And somebody said, only 5 years. But if you think about the fact that the longest held American POW was an Army Special Forces captain named Jim Thompson. He was 10 days shy of 9 years. Now for you students, that's longer than you've been in school, even including your kindergarten years. It's a long time. So that's relative. So some people have it worse. And then the other thing, sometimes just establishing short-term goals. Make it through the day, make it through an exam, whatever you need to do, and then go ahead and accomplish that goal and be proud of it, and then choose another one, keep going. And that helps you sometimes get through. And then the other thing, sometimes you're not as strong as you think you are. You need to have something stronger, bigger than you are. And that's where faith, having faith in something. There's faith in your God, faith in your country, faith in your family, faith in your fellow man. And for us, we have faith in our fellow prisoners. They help sustain us. Us. But the other thing, faith in our country. We knew we were coming home, we just didn't know when. After I've been up there a little over 4 years, one day there were 7 of us sitting around conjecturing about how much longer we thought we'd be up there. And the pace the war had been going on, we came up with what we considered to be a reasonable consensus that we figured we might be there another 10 or 15 years, honestly. But unfortunately, President Nixon, December 72, took decisive action, started what was known as the Christmas bombing, and in 12 days ended the war had gone on for 12 years, and the North Vietnamese then released us. We were able to bring home. President Nixon brought us home in early 1973. And we did receive a very royal welcome when we got back. Part of it was because President Nixon, when he announced what was known as the Christmas bombing, he said, I want my POW home. So when we came home, I believe that in many respects, the American people personified the end of the war. That was a welcome that every Vietnam veteran deserved and should have gotten. Now, when it comes to the veterans who have served our country through the years, millions have served since our history began, even as soon as World War II. My dad served in World War II. We had 16 million men in uniform, and for a country of 140 million population at the time, that's pretty significant, over 10%. Back in the 70s, it was about 2 to 3%, and now it's about 1% serving to protect us. And back when I was in Hanoi, on the 4th of July, 1971, in the same context, we were about 2 or 3% of Americans serving in the military. I wrote a poem entitled We Few. And I used a flower as a metaphor for freedom, because a flower, even though it's beautiful, is perishable. It's not cared for and taken care of. The closest stanza I had to that was using flowers as a metaphor. Much needed care cannot be slow. A few must bear the load for all. The sun-soaked shores, the windswept bluffs, we few will answer duty's call. And that's the way it is with veterans. They have been out there serving to be those few to answer duty's call. And when anybody serves in the military, they take an oath to support and defend the Constitution. There's a particular portion I really like about the Constitution. And by the way, you should be proud of our Constitution. Our Constitution was the first document of its kind in the world, and right now there are 80 countries in the world that have used it as a model for their Constitution. But the particular part I like, I'll read to you the preamble. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Now, there's key phrases in there, of course, veterans provide for common defense. Another one I really like is to secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. Posterity be those that come after us. So, I think this is something that's key. Even though you're out here enjoying the blessings of liberty, you can do something. Veterans Day is a wonderful day to honor veterans, but there's a way I suggest that you can do it every day of the year. And that is, be responsible citizens. Be involved in your community, your state, your nation, and do your part and encourage others to do their part to secure the blessings of liberty for yourself and your posterity. And if you do that, if everybody would do that, I think that would be a legacy that every veteran would be proud of. Thank you very much.